Your mood will speak to you every single morning before the world does. It will whisper excuses. It will paint pictures that feel real, but are built on emotion, not truth. Some days your mood will tell you that you are tired before you have even tried, that you are behind before you have even begun, that today is not the day before the clock has even struck 9. And if you are not careful, you will believe it. You will mistake a feeling for a fact. You will confuse temporary emotion with permanent reality. But here is the truth most people never slow down long enough to hear. Your mood lies, but your plan tells the truth. Your mood is emotional, impulsive, reactive. It is shaped by sleep, weather, words someone said yesterday, something that did not go your way last week. Your mood does not care about your future. It only cares about comfort right now. Your plan, on the other hand, was created when you were calm, clear, and committed. Your plan was written when you remembered who you want to become, not how you feel in the moment. And that is why the plan deserves your obedience, not your mood. There will be days when your mood wakes up weak, heavy, unmotivated. It will say, slow down, take it easy, you can start tomorrow. But your plan will stand there quietly and remind you that tomorrow is built by what you do today. Your mood will ask for relief. Your plan asks for discipline. Your mood wants comfort. Your plan demands consistency, and every meaningful life is built by people who chose the plan over the mood more often than not. Understand this deeply. Motivation is not reliable. Discipline is. Feelings come and go. Commitments stay if you honor them. The people you admire are not the ones who always felt like showing up. They are the ones who showed up even when they did not feel like it. They did not wait for the mood to change. They acted, and the action changed the mood. Your mood will exaggerate obstacles. It will make small problems feel massive and temporary setbacks feel permanent. It will convince you that because today feels hard, the entire journey will be hard. But your plan sees the long road. It understands that progress is uneven, that growth is uncomfortable, that resistance is part of the process. The plan does not panic when things feel difficult. It expects difficulty. That is why it works. When you follow your mood, your life becomes inconsistent. Some days you push forward, some days you disappear, some days you believe in yourself, some days you doubt everything. But when you follow a plan, your life becomes predictable in the best way. You may not always feel strong, but you keep moving. You may not always feel inspired, but you stay aligned. And alignment, not inspiration, is what creates results. Your mood will tell you stories about yourself that are not true. It will say you are not ready, not good enough, not as capable as others. It will remind you of your past mistakes and ignore your past growth. Your plan, however, is based on intention, not insecurity. It was created because you believed in a future version of yourself, and that belief matters more than any emotion passing through you today. There is power in doing what you said you would do long after the feeling has faded. There is strength in honoring your word to yourself, even when no one is watching. Every time you follow the plan instead of the mood, you build trust with yourself. And self-trust is one of the most valuable assets you can ever own. Without it, confidence collapses. With it, resilience grows. Most people think confidence comes from success. It does not. Confidence comes from keeping promises to yourself. When you say you will wake up early and you do, confidence grows. When you say you will train, study, work, practice, and you do, confidence grows. Not because the task was easy, but because you proved that your word matters. Your plan is a collection of promises. Your mood will try to break them. Your discipline protects them. Your mood will tell you to negotiate with your standards. Just today, it will say, just this once. You deserve a break. And rest is important, but quitting disguised as rest is dangerous. The plan knows the difference. The plan schedules rest with intention, not guilt. The plan does not abandon the mission because of discomfort. It adjusts without surrendering. If you wait to feel ready, you will wait forever. Readiness is not a feeling, it is a decision. Your mood wants certainty before action. Your plan understands that action creates clarity. You do not move because you feel confident. You feel confident because you move. Think about how many dreams have been delayed, not destroyed, but delayed because someone listened to their mood instead of their plan. How many opportunities were missed because motivation was low that day? How many goals stayed untouched because the feeling was not right? Your future does not depend on how you feel today. It depends on what you do despite how you feel. Your mood lives in the present moment. Your plan lives in the future you are trying to build. Every day you must decide which voice gets authority. The voice that wants comfort now, or the voice that wants growth later. The voice that reacts, or the voice that leads. Leadership over your own life begins with choosing the plan, when the mood protests. There will be moments when your mood feels convincing. It will sound logical. It will bring evidence. It will point to fatigue, fear, failure. But remember this, feelings are not facts. They are signals, not commands. You can acknowledge how you feel without obeying it. You can say, I feel tired and still work. I feel afraid and still move forward. I feel unmotivated and still take the next step. Your plan is not about perfection. It is about direction. You will not execute it flawlessly. Some days you will fall short, but the plan keeps pulling you back on track. Without it, every mood swing can knock you off course. With it, even bad days contribute to long-term progress. The strongest people are not emotionless. They're disciplined. They feel everything, but they are not ruled by everything. They understand that consistency beats intensity. They understand that small actions repeated daily outperform big actions done occasionally. And that understanding is built into the plan, not the mood. Your mood wants immediate reward. Your plan is willing to wait. And waiting, when paired with action, is not passive. It is strategic. You plant seeds long before you see the harvest. Your mood will dig them up too early to check if they are growing. Your plan trusts the process and keeps watering. If you want a different life, you need different habits. And habits are not built by moods. They are built by routines. Routines do not ask how you feel. They ask what time it is. They remove decision fatigue. They remove excuses. They create momentum. And momentum is what carries you through days when motivation disappears. Your mood will tell you to stop when things get uncomfortable. Your plan understands that discomfort is often a sign that something is changing. Muscles grow by tension. Minds grow by challenge. Character grows by resistance. If you run from discomfort every time it appears, you run from growth itself. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And your plan is your system. It is your structure when emotions are chaotic. It is your anchor when motivation drifts. It is your compass when you feel lost. Every successful person you admire has mastered this internal battle, not once, but daily. They wake up and choose structure over feeling, commitment over convenience, discipline over desire, not because they are superhuman, but because they are intentional. Your mood will change many times throughout the day. Your plan remains steady. It does not get offended. It does not get tired. It waits for you to return to it. And every time you do, you strengthen the part of you that leads rather than reacts. You cannot control every emotion that enters your mind, but you can control which ones you act on. You cannot stop yourself from feeling low, but you can stop yourself from quitting. You cannot always feel inspired, but you can always be disciplined. When you look back on your life years from now, you will not be proud of the days you followed your mood. You will be proud of the days you showed up anyway. The days you kept going when it would have been easier to stop. The days you honored the plan when your emotions begged you to abandon it. Your mood is a weather report. Your plan is the destination. You do not cancel the journey because it is raining. You adjust, you prepare, and you keep moving. Storms pass. Discipline remains. There will be mornings when your mood says stay in bed. Your plan says get up. There will be evenings when your mood says scroll, escape, numb. Your plan says build, prepare, focus. Those moments are not small. They are crossroads. And the direction you choose repeatedly becomes the story of your life. You are in OT lazy. You are undisciplined. And discipline is not a personality trait. It is a practice. It can be trained. It can be strengthened. It grows every time you act in alignment with your plan instead of your mood. Your mood wants validation. Your plan wants results. Validation fades quickly. Results compound. And compound growth is quiet at first. It does not announce itself. It just shows up one day as a life that looks different, feels stronger, stands taller. You do not need more motivation. You need more commitment. Motivation is emotional. Commitment is deliberate. Motivation waits. Commitment moves. Your plan is proof that at some point you believed in yourself enough to prepare. Do not betray that version of you because of a temporary feeling. Honor the vision you once had when you were thinking clearly. Every time you choose the plan, you vote for the person you want to become. Every time you choose the mood, you reinforce the habits that keep you where you are. Change is not dramatic, it is repetitive. You may not feel powerful today, but power is built through action, not emotion. You may not feel confident today, but confidence grows when you keep your word. You may not feel ready today, but readiness is earned by doing the work anyway. Your mood will lie to protect you from discomfort. Your plan tells the truth to push you toward growth. One keeps you safe, the other makes you strong. And strength, not safety, is what will carry you through the challenges ahead. So when the day feels heavy, when the fire feels low, when the excuses sound reasonable, return to the plan. Not with anger, not with guilt, but with resolve. Take the next small step. Do the next right action. And then another. and another. Because momentum does not come from feeling good. It comes from moving forward, even when you do not. And as you keep moving, something subtle begins to happen inside you. The voice of the mood starts to lose its authority. It still speaks, but it no longer commands. It becomes background noise instead of a steering wheel. You begin to recognize its patterns. You know when it is exaggerating, when it is trying to negotiate, when it is trying to pull you back into old comfort zones. And because you recognize it, you are no longer controlled by it. Your plan starts to feel less like pressure and more like protection. Protection from impulsive decisions. Protection from emotional burnout. Protection from the version of you that wants quick relief instead of lasting results. The plan becomes a safe structure you can return to no matter how chaotic the day feels. When everything around you feels uncertain, the plan remains familiar. Most people think freedom means doing whatever they feel like doing. But that kind of freedom often leads to regret. Real freedom comes from self-control, from knowing that you can rely on yourself even when things are hard, from knowing that your progress does not collapse the moment motivation disappears. That kind of freedom is earned through discipline, not emotion. Your mood wants to be entertained. Your plan wants to be executed. One seeks stimulation, the other seeks transformation. And transformation is rarely entertaining. It is repetitive, it is boring at times, it is lonely at times, but it is effective, and effectiveness changes lives. There will be days when following the plan feels mechanical. You go through the motions, you do the work without excitement. And that is not a failure, that is maturity. That is what consistency looks like in real life. Anyone can act when they feel inspired. Leaders act when they feel nothing. Your mood will often confuse boredom with burnout. It will tell you that because you are not excited, something is wrong. But boredom is often a sign that you are building mastery, that you are past the novelty phase and into the discipline phase. And the discipline phase is where real growth happens. If you constantly chase excitement, you will abandon anything meaningful before it has time to compound. The plan understands seasons. It understands that not every phase feels rewarding, but every phase is necessary. You do not quit the gym because the first results are slow. You do not quit learning because the basics feel repetitive. You trust the process because the plan was built with patience. Your mood will tempt you to compare yourself to others. It will show you someone else's highlight and make your progress feel insignificant. Your plan does not compare. It focuses. It measures progress against yesterday, not against someone else's chapter 20 when you are on chapter 5. Comparison feeds emotion. Focus feeds progress. And progress, even when it is slow, is still movement, still direction, still proof that you are not standing still. There is a quiet confidence that grows when you live by a plan. You stop explaining yourself. You stop seeking approval. You stop needing external motivation because your validation comes from execution, from knowing that regardless of how you felt, you did what needed to be done. Your mood wants to be understood. Your plan wants to be followed. And the more you follow it, the less you need anyone else to understand your journey. Results speak in ways explanations never can. You will notice that as discipline strengthens, emotional swings begin to soften. Not because life becomes easier, but because you become steadier. You are no longer thrown off course by every inconvenience. You adapt faster. You recover quicker. You waste less energy complaining and more energy correcting. Your plan does not remove struggle from your life. It gives struggle direction. It turns chaos into challenge. And challenges, when faced repeatedly, turn into competence. Many people are overwhelmed not because they have too much to do, but because they decide everything based on how they feel. Every task becomes a debate. Every action requires motivation. Every choice drains energy. A plan removes the debate. It answers questions before they arise. It turns decisions into habits. When you stop asking yourself if you feel like doing the work and simply do it because it is time, your mental load decreases. Your stress decreases. Your focus sharpens. You conserve willpower for things that truly require thought, not for basic commitments you already decided on. Your mood wants flexibility without responsibility. Your plan offers flexibility with structure. It allows adjustment without abandonment. If something does not work, you refine it. You do not throw it away. You learn. You adapt. You continue. Failure does not destroy the plan. Quitting does. Missing a day is not the problem. Letting a missed day turn into a missed week, then a missed month, that is how momentum dies. The plan is not fragile. It can handle imperfection. It only asks that you return. Your mood will tell you that consistency is too rigid, too strict, too demanding. But inconsistency is far more exhausting. Starting over repeatedly is harder than continuing imperfectly. Rebuilding momentum drains more energy than maintaining it. Every time you restart, you pay a price. Emotionally, mentally, physically. The plan protects you from that constant restart cycle. It keeps you in motion even when progress feels slow. You do not need to overhaul your life in one dramatic moment. That idea comes from emotion. The plan works through accumulation. One disciplined morning, one focused hour, one intentional decision at a time. And over months and years, those small choices create distance between who you were and who you become. Your mood is short-sighted. It cannot see past the next comfort or discomfort. Your plan sees beyond today. It sees the cost of inaction. It sees the reward of persistence. And it asks you to trust what you once believed, even when you cannot feel it right now. There will be times when the plan feels lonely, when others seem to be relaxing, quitting, choosing ease, and you wonder if discipline is worth it. In those moments, remember that average is crowded, comfort is crowded, regret is crowded, but growth often happens quietly, away from applause. Your mood wants company and comfort. Your plan accepts solitude in pursuit, and solitude, when chosen with purpose, becomes strength. You are not missing out by following your plan. You are investing. You are trading short-term pleasure for long-term peace, and peace earned through discipline is far more stable than happiness borrowed from distraction. Your mood will try to convince you that you are sacrificing too much, but what you are really sacrificing is the version of you that stays stuck, the version that keeps postponing, the version that knows what to do but waits to feel like it. There is no perfect time to execute the plan. There is only now, and now will never feel perfect. Conditions will never be ideal. Energy will never be unlimited. Waiting for the right feeling is a quiet form of procrastination. Action first. Clarity follows. Confidence follows. Motivation often follows, but rarely does it come before. Your plan is not just about productivity. It is about identity. Every repeated action shapes how you see yourself. When you live by a plan, you start to see yourself as someone who follows through, someone who is dependable, someone who can be trusted with bigger goals, and that identity change is powerful. Because once you see yourself differently, your behavior begins to align naturally. Discipline becomes less forced. Choices become easier. You stop negotiating with yourself because the standard is clear. Your mood wants to feel special. Your plan wants to be effective. And effectiveness does not need drama. It needs repetition. The days that change your life often look ordinary from the outside. They are quiet, unremarkable. Just another day where you showed up and did the work. But those are the days that stack. Those are the days that separate outcomes. You will not always enjoy the process, but enjoyment is not the price of success. Commitment is, and commitment means you act even when enjoyment is absent. Your mood wants to be heard. Your plan wants to be respected, and respect is shown through action, not intention. You can think positive thoughts and still stay stuck. You can feel inspired and still go nowhere, but disciplined action repeated over time forces change. It creates evidence, and evidence silences doubt better than affirmations ever could. Your mood will sometimes make you question your vision. It will say, maybe this goal is not for you. Maybe you chose wrong. Maybe you should do something easier. And sometimes adjustment is wise, but most of the time, doubt appears right before growth. Resistance increases when you are close to change. The plan helps you distinguish between genuine misalignment and temporary discomfort. It keeps you from making permanent decisions based on temporary feelings. There is a version of you in the future that is grateful you did not quit on days when it felt pointless. That version exists because of boring discipline, not emotional highs. You do not need to be extreme. You need to be consistent. Extremes burn out. Consistency builds endurance, and endurance wins long games. Your mood wants to sprint. Your plan trains you for a marathon, and life is not a short race. It is long, unpredictable, demanding. Without structure, emotion alone cannot carry you through it. As days turn into weeks and weeks into months, you begin to notice that your reactions change. What once overwhelmed you now feels manageable. What once intimidated you now feels familiar, not because the challenges disappeared, but because you showed up enough times to grow stronger. Strength is built quietly, not in moments of hype, but in moments of repetition, in choosing the plan again and again, even when nothing dramatic happens. Your mood wants a breakthrough. Your plan builds one slowly. And as you continue, there will be moments where you forget how far you have come, where progress feels invisible, where effort feels unrewarded. That is when the plan matters most, because it carries you through valleys you cannot think your way out of. You are not behind, you are in process. And process is uncomfortable by nature. If it were easy, everyone would finish it. The plan does not promise ease, it promises direction. And direction followed long enough eventually leads somewhere different. So when tomorrow arrives and the familiar voice returns, questioning, doubting, resisting, you do not need to argue with it. You simply return to the structure you chose. You look at the next action, not the entire journey, just the next step, and you take it. And when you take that next step, something important happens beneath the surface. You stop relying on emotion as your engine and start relying on identity. You begin to act not because you feel like it, but because this is who you are becoming. The plan stops feeling like a task list and starts feeling like alignment. Alignment between what you say you want and what you are willing to do for it. Your mood will always ask for proof before effort. Your plan asks for effort before proof. That is the difference bet. Wean stagnation and progress. If you demand evidence before you act, you will stay where you are. If you act before evidence appears, you create it. There are days when your mood will feel loud and persuasive. It will bring urgency. It will say this feeling matters more than the commitment, but feelings do not build legacies. Repetition does. Habits do. Quiet discipline does. You begin to understand that emotional discomfort is not a sign to stop. It is often a sign that you are stretching beyond old limits, and growth always feels unfamiliar before it feels natural. The plan exists to guide you through that unfamiliar territory when your emotions want to retreat to what is known. Most people quit, not because they are incapable, but because they mistake discomfort for danger. The mood sounds the alarm. The plan checks the facts. And more often than not, the facts say, keep going. You start to see that waiting for motivation is like waiting for the weather to be perfect before leaving the house. You would never go anywhere. Discipline is choosing to move regardless of conditions. It is not about being harsh with yourself. It is about being honest about what it takes, honest about what you want, honest about the gap between the two. Your plan respects that honesty. It does not sugarcoat. It does not promise shortcuts. It asks for effort and offers growth in return. Your mood wants shortcuts. It wants reward without repetition. It wants outcomes without ownership. And ownership is where power lives. When you take ownership of your actions, instead of blaming your feelings, you reclaim control. You stop saying, I could not because I did not feel like it, and start saying, I chose not to. That shift is uncomfortable, but it is liberating because choice means agency, and agency means change is possible. Your mood loves excuses because excuses remove responsibility. The plan removes excuses because it demands clarity. Clear times, clear actions, clear priorities, and clarity eliminates confusion. Confusion drains energy, clarity conserves it. You realize that most stress comes from knowing what you should do and not doing it. That internal friction, that constant negotiation. The plan ends the negotiation. It turns should into must, not out of pressure, but out of purpose. Purpose gives discipline meaning. Without purpose, discipline feels like punishment. With purpose, it feels like direction. Your mood does not care about purpose, it cares about relief, but relief fades quickly. Purpose sustains. As you continue following the plan, your self-respect grows. You start trusting yourself with bigger goals because you have evidence that you can handle small ones. Self-trust compounds just like effort does, and with self-trust comes calm. You stop panicking about every setback because you know you will respond. You know you will adjust. You know you will continue. That confidence is quiet, but it is solid. Your mood reacts. Your plan responds. Reaction is instant and emotional. Response is intentional and measured. One leads to chaos, the other leads to progress. You begin to notice how many people around you are driven by emotion, how often decisions are made based on frustration, fear, excitement, or comparison. And you realize how rare it is to see someone move steadily regardless of how they feel. That steadiness becomes your advantage, not because you are smarter, not because you are more talented, but because you are more consistent. Consistency beats talent when talent lacks discipline. Consistency beats intelligence when intelligence lacks execution. Consistency beats motivation when motivation disappears. Your plan is your commitment to consistency. There will be times when the results do not match the EF. Fort, when you work and nothing seems to change, that is when the mood becomes most dangerous. It will say this is pointless. It will say you are wasting time. It will say stop. The plan understands lag. It understands that results trail effort. Always, and understands that seeds grow underground long before they break the surface, and digging them up does not make them grow faster. Trusting the plan during delayed results is one of the hardest disciplines to master, but it is also one of the most rewarding. You are not failing because you do not see results yet. You are training, you are conditioning, you are building capacity, And capacity always comes before visible success. Your mood wants applause. Your plan wants progress. Applause is external. Progress is internal. One feeds ego. The other builds ability. Ability gives you options. Ego gives you excuses. As the plan shapes your days, it also shapes your mindset. You stop thinking in terms of all or nothing. You start thinking in terms of next and now. What is the next right action? What can I do now? That thinking keeps you moving even when the path feels long. You learn that momentum is fragile at first, but powerful once established. The first few steps are the hardest. After that, stopping becomes harder than continuing. Your mood loves beginnings. New starts feel exciting, but it struggles with continuation. The plan thrives on continuation. It does not need novelty, it needs repetition. Repetition is not glamorous, but it is effective. You stop romanticizing motivation and start respecting discipline. Motivation feels good, but it is unreliable. Discipline does not care how it feels, it just works. And working consistently changes how you see time. You stop rushing, you stop forcing outcomes. You understand that becoming someone different takes longer than a few good days. The plan gives you patience. Because it gives you process. Without process, impatience turns into quitting. With process, patience turns into persistence. Your mood will still have its moments. It will still rise and fall, but it no longer defines your direction. It becomes something you experience, not something you follow. You can feel discouraged and still move forward. You can feel uncertain and still act. You can feel tired and still do what matters. That is strength. Not the absence of emotion, but the ability to act in spite of it. Your plan does not ask you to feel better. It asks you to be better. And often feeling better comes later. You start noticing that your best days are not the days you felt amazing. They're the days you honored your commitments. The days you did what you said you would do. Those days end with pride, not regret. Regret is heavier than effort. Effort weighs something in the moment. Regret weighs something for years. The plan helps you choose effort now to avoid regret later. As time passes, you realize that discipline is not restrictive. It is freeing. It frees you from emotional chaos, from impulsive decisions, from constant self-disappointment. Freedom is knowing you can count on yourself. That kind of freedom changes how you walk into rooms, how you speak, how you face challenges. You are no longer hoping things work out. You are working your way forward. Your mood hopes. Your plan prepares. Preparation reduces fear. Fear grows in uncertainty. The plan creates certainty where it can. Not about outcomes, but about actions. You cannot control results, but you can control effort. And effort, guided by a plan, increases the odds in your favor. You stop needing guarantees. You start trusting systems. Systems outlast emotions. Your plan is a system designed by your best thinking, not your weakest feeling. Honor that. Every time you follow it, even imperfectly, you reinforce a powerful message to yourself. I am someone who follows through. I am someone who keeps going. I am someone who does not quit when it gets uncomfortable. That identity is built slowly, quietly, but once built, it is hard to break. And that is why the plan matters more than the mood, not just for productivity, not just for success, but for the kind of person you become in the process. You are shaping yourself with every choice, every day. Whether you realize it or not, the mood shapes you reactively. The plan shapes you intentionally. One leaves you drifting, the other gives you direction. And direction, followed long enough, changes everything. And even when everything in you wants to stop, there is a deeper layer you begin to access, a layer that does not depend on excitement or fear. It is resolve. Resolve is quieter than motivation, but it is far stronger. Motivation shouts and disappears. Resolve whispers and stays. Your plan is built on resolve, not emotion. You begin to understand that feelings are temporary, visitors, not permanent residents. They knock, they speak, they leave. But too many people hand them the keys to the house. The plan reminds you that you are in charge. You can listen without surrendering control. There are moments when your mood will tell you that you are alone in this struggle, that no one else feels this resistance, that something must be wrong with you because it feels hard. But resistance is universal. Everyone who builds something meaningful feels it. The difference is not who feels it, but who moves anyway. The plan normalizes resistance. It expects it. It does not interpret difficulty as a warning sign. It interprets it as part of the terrain. And once you accept that, the emotional drama around effort begins to fade. You stop asking, why is this so hard? And start saying, this is what hard feels like. And that shift matters. Your mood thrives on drama. It amplifies. It catastrophizes. One bad moment becomes a bad day. One bad day becomes a bad life. The plan brings scale back into perspective. It reminds you that this is 1 hour, one task, one step. When you shrink the focus, the weight becomes manageable. You are not meant to carry the entire future on your shoulders today. You are meant to carry the next action. The plan understands this. The mood does not. As you continue living this way, you notice that procrastination begins to lose its grip. Not because tasks suddenly become fun, but because avoidance no longer feels justified. You know what happens when you delay. You know the cost. And awareness changes behavior. You begin to value momentum more than comfort. Momentum feels earned. Comfort feels borrowed. One strengthens you. The other weakens you if it becomes your default. Your mood will argue that you deserve ease because you are tired. Sometimes that is true, but often tiredness is mental, not physical. It comes from indecision, not exertion. From thinking about work instead of doing it. The plan cuts through that fog. It replaces overthinking with action. And action often restores energy instead of draining it. You learn that clarity is not found by sitting and thinking longer. It is found by moving, by engaging, by testing. The plan puts you in motion so answers can meet you there. Your mood prefers imagination over execution. Imagining success feels good without requiring effort. The plan demands proof. It demands that imagination be followed by action, and that is uncomfortable. But discomfort is a small price for self-respect. As days pass, you start to feel a subtle pride in routine. Not flashy pride, but grounded pride. The pride of knowing you did not let yourself down. The pride of knowing that even on average days, acted with intention. That pride stabilizes you. It keeps you from chasing external validation. Because you already know who you are becoming. Your mood wants reassurance from others. Your plan builds reassurance from evidence. Evidence changes self-talk. When you have proof of consistency, the inner critic loses credibility. It cannot convince you that you always quit when you have a track record of continuing. The plan does not eliminate doubt, but it weakens it. Doubt feeds on inaction. It starves on execution. You begin to see that most limitations are not external. They are internal negotiations that never needed to happen. Should I do this now or later? Should I push or rest? Should I try or wait? The plan has already answered these questions. By answering them in advance, it frees your mind to focus on doing, not debating. Debate drains energy. Doing creates energy. You also notice that emotional highs become less important to you. You do not need to feel pumped to feel fulfilled. Fulfillment comes from progress, not excitement. Excitement is loud. Fulfillment is calm. Calm allows you to think clearly, to make better decisions, to respond instead of react. Your plan builds that calm over time. You stop swinging between extremes of motivation and disappointment. You operate in a narrower emotional range, not because you feel less, but because you are less shaken. Stability becomes your strength. Your mood once dictated your self-image. A good mood meant you felt capable. A bad mood meant you questioned everything. Now your self-image is rooted in behavior, not feeling. And behavior is more reliable. Reliability builds confidence, not confidence that you will always win, but confidence that you will always show up. Showing up changes outcomes more often than brilliance does. There will still be moments when you feel tempted to abandon the PL, and entirely, to say what is the point, to want relief from responsibility. In those moments, remember that responsibility is not the burden. Avoidance creates anxiety. Responsibility creates pressure at first, then peace. The plan may feel heavy in the beginning, but it lightens over time as habits form. What once required effort becomes automatic. What once felt forced becomes familiar. That is the power of repetition. You are not meant to rely on willpower forever. Willpower is limited. Systems are sustainable. The plan turns effort into system. Once the system is in place, you are no longer fighting yourself every day. You are cooperating with structure. Structure supports you when emotion cannot. Your mood will occasionally accuse you of becoming rigid, of losing spontaneity. But discipline does not remove joy. It creates space for it. When you handle what matters consistently, you enjoy what remains without guilt. Guilt poisons pleasure. Discipline removes guilt. You can rest fully when you know you earned it. You can enjoy freely when you know you stayed aligned. Your mood chases pleasure first and pays regret later. Your plan pays effort first and enjoys peace later. Peace is underrated, but peace is powerful. Peace allows you to sustain progress without burnout. Burnout often comes not from doing too much, but from doing without direction. Direction gives effort meaning. Meaning makes effort tolerable, even rewarding. You begin to see that success is not about dramatic breakthroughs. It is about eliminating self-sabotage. About doing the obvious things consistently instead of the exciting things occasionally. The plan keeps you anchored to the obvious. Obvious actions are often ignored because they are not glamorous, but they work. You stop looking for hacks and start respecting fundamentals. Sleep, focus, practice, consistency, patience. The mood wants shortcuts. The plan commits to fundamentals. Fundamentals compound quietly. As time continues, you notice that you are no longer as reactive to setbacks. A bad day does not spiral into self-criticism. A mistake does not turn into quitting. You correct and continue. Correction without condemnation is a sign of growth. Your mood condemns. Your plan corrects. Condemnation paralyzes. Correction progresses. You are learning to separate who you are from what you feel. Feelings become experiences, not identities. You are not lazy because you feel tired. You are not incapable because you feel unsure. You are simply human. The plan does not demand perfection. It demands participation. Participation keeps you in the game. Leaving the game is easy. Staying requires resolve. Resolve is built by repeatedly choosing long-term over short-term, again and again, until it becomes instinct. Instinct is powerful because it operates even when you are exhausted. One day you will realize that you no longer argue with your mood as much, not because it disappeared, but because you stopped negotiating with it. You acknowledge it and move. That is emotional maturity. Maturity is not about feeling better. It is about acting better. Your plan is a tool for maturity, and maturity changes the trajectory of your life, not all at once, but steadily, step by step, choice by choice, action by action, and you continue.